Hey everybody, thanks for listening to this week's episode of Four Turntables and Microphone Podcast. In this episode, find out what the guys picked up during our crate digging section. We cover a major David Bowie release in This Week in Music. Our 4TAM Top 20 this week is Morning Coffee Songs. We're going a little bit country this week in the Artist Spotlight, covering Kacey Musgraves. And if you want to hear John doing a singing impression of Kermit the Frog, make sure to listen to the end. Hope you enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, thanks for joining the first Sunday edition of the Four Turntables and a Microphone podcast. I'm Dan.
I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
I'm Ricardo.
All right, guys, it's been a while since we got together. We kind of skipped a Wednesday and we're moving to a Sunday edition now. So what have you guys been up to lately?
Buying more records.
Nice.
Yeah, that is a vice. That is something terrible.
I picked up a couple more records and just avoiding the heat right now. It's
been a bit crazy.
Hot in southern Ontario. I think it hit 34 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but
A lot.
with the humidity, it's hot.
Yeah, no, I went for a ride, for a bike ride yesterday, and it was around 38. I come from a super warm country. We just have hot and hotter over there, so it's fine.
Yeah, me, I just stay indoors. I crank the AC and just stay indoors.
Yeah, not to keep going on the weather, but there's actually a thunderstorm going on right now. You might even caught that. There's just a big loud lightning strike, thunder strike there a second ago. But...
Yeah, so if you hear a little bit of rain in the background, that would be why. So it sounds like everybody's been pretty lazy the last couple of weeks, so why don't we just jump right into crate digging and see what everybody picked up lately?
Who's going to go first?
Hey, how about you?
Oh, okay. I picked up a couple of records. I got The Doors, the first one. I got it from Discogs. The condition of the record is fine. The outer and inner sleeves, they're fine. But I don't know why the record was sounding so treble-ish. A lot of treble. So you know that actually I was thinking that my stylus was misaligned. So I spent 2 hours with my wife. She wasn't so happy with me because, you know, that takes a lot of patience to do that. So we realigned the stylus, and I still had the treble sound. So it's the record. It's not the stylus. So we were troubleshooting one-on-one and didn't work.
What year did that record come out?
It's a great question. Let me see. It's telling me here. Oh my goodness, I don't see it here.
Is it really thin, flexible vinyl?
Yeah, it's a
it's Dynaflex. It might say it right on the label. It might say Dynaflex. That was back when there was a shortage of vinyl. They actually started making like a hybrid album, and the qualities wasn't the best.
Did it warp or just not age well, or was it crap?
No, they didn't warp because they were really, really flexible and thin.
So they never technically warped.
No, exactly.
They couldn't hold their shape.
You can see it here. It's an Electra. It's a Canadian pressed, I think.
Does it warble like a thin sheet of metal when you rock it back and forth?
Actually, it was a repress from. No, but you see, it's flex. It was in 1980. Yeah, it's super trebly.
It could just be the pressing. If it's a reissue, it may not have been straight from the analog masters. It's hard to say.
Yeah, so I'm not so happy with them. Then I got 2 records from Encore. I got Iron Maiden, Power Slave.
Nice.
I think I saw that. That's a used one you got?
No. This one is new from Encore.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I got Massive Attack, Blue Lines.
Good for you, buddy.
Oh man, this is a huge album. I really like this one. I will say better than Mezzanine. Mezzanine is more electronic for my taste, but yeah, this is Blue Lines. I love this record, and the sound is so deep. The bass is so deep. So even though that I was always complaining about the lack of bass of my speakers, sounds amazing. And this one, I just picked it up today. The one that I was telling you, Hearing Aid. This one was the one that was made at the same time that USA from Africa, but was from the rock community.
That was the Hearing Aid one?
Yeah, they come with the song Stars. We have Accept, we have Hungry for Heaven from Dio, Jimi Hendrix, we have Kiss, Motorhead, Distant Early Warning, we have Scorpions and Y&T. The only complaint that I can say is that the seller on Discogs, he put it like as a very good plus, and it's not. Has some scratches and some skipping, so he shouldn't, because if I knew that was in this condition, I shouldn't pay it. And I paid almost $50 for this record.
Oh wow.
I got one like that recently too. Like it was labeled as a VG plus, but to be fair, like it was priced well below what others like it were priced at. Not that they were necessarily VG pluses either, but yeah, the VG plus is way too common, too generally used. It's kind of like, because it's the benchmark, right? So people just want to get in the gate and get as much product on their store as they want, I suppose, and a lot of people will let it slide. But the one that I ordered, I was okay with when I ordered it when it arrived, because the guy was decent enough to include like exactly what was up with it. Not that there was an image, but when I got it, there was no surprises.
Yeah, no, exactly. If you have like a clear statement from the seller saying, hey, there's some scratches, there's here and there, at least you know. And if you want to go, you go for it. But this guy, he said that was BG Plus and has like 4 big scratches all over both sides.
It's like buying a used car, because like when you look at a used car ad and it just said like, you know, drives clean, or like there's nothing about it other than some vague statement like runs well, drives clean, or some like stay away from that stuff unless it's cheap enough to turn into a peanut bowl for your coffee table if it really is crap when it arrives. But yeah, I would never risk buying a VG plus if it's something I care about.
Yeah, you know, I send the feedback.
The only other thing I can maybe say, Ricardo, is that from my experience that I've had on Discogs, I've put through 3 orders now in the past few weeks, and they're all like, one order I put through, the guy had 31 things in his store, so I'm pretty sure it was just someone selling out of their bedroom. But every single one of them, every single LP that I bought, they had all like listened to them and could vouch for it. But when I look at stores that have 5,000 things in their Discogs library, I think to myself, oh, like, is this true?
Yeah, no, you're right, because this guy had a lot of records from
there's no way they could listen to all of them.
Yeah, no, you're completely right. No, yeah, it's a learning experience, so yeah.
Is that it for you, Ricardo?
Yeah.
So for me, I got one this week in the mail. Finally, this is one that I did a pre-order from in either late February or early March. It's the David Gray White Ladder. You guys familiar with David Gray?
No.
I looked it up when I think you sent us a message that you got that one. I looked that one up.
He's kind of like a singer-songwriter, plays piano and guitar. It's his 4th studio album, and he self-financed and recorded it on his own and released it on his own. And it kind of failed as an album. And then he went on tour with Dave Matthews, and then Dave Matthews released it on his label, and that's when it started to pick up momentum and started to catch on. And this one is a dual LP. It's 45 RPM. It's got like a silver marbled vinyl. It's really cool.
Nice.
All right, so that's it for me. John, how about you?
Yeah, this past week I went to the local record shop, Encore Records as well, and picked up 2 records. One of them is Pearl Jam 10.
Oh, nice.
That's probably my number 1 favorite album from like the 90s era, I'd say, for me. I think that came out in like 92-ish, around there. I remember I was in college, just out of high school. I was taking graphic design, and you know, if you migrated from cassette tapes to CDs, and like that was my one of my first CDs. So yeah, I think that year I listened to that album, and I immediately remember being back in graphic design and listening to that driving to school and stuff like that. So that's an awesome album. It's got some of the big songs, Even Flow, Alive, and Jeremy. Just before we started the podcast, Dan, you were mentioning that I think they just released the unedited version of the video for Jeremy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's online. But that was a pretty controversial song, or a pretty impactful song at the time. So yeah, I got that one.
Oh, and the Black is there. I love Black. That song is powerful.
Yeah, that actually is in my list later today.
Spoilers.
Spoiler, yeah.
Our top 12 morning songs coming up soon. But yeah, the other album I picked up was another album from close to the same era. Canadian female singer Sarah McLachlan. So that I got the album Surfacing. This one came out in 1997, but yeah, that's got some really good songs. And I like Sarah McLachlan. Right around that time I mentioned I was taking graphic design at a college in Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, the Schwa. And
the Schwa.
And they had a concert there, and it was Sarah McLachlan. And nice. It was so cool. Like, I went there, and there was it was outside, and it was weird. She already had like a couple songs that were just getting popular on the radio, and there was only like 100 or so people there. And it was funny. I was actually with a friend there, and we were talking to the guy at the soundboard, and he was like we just did a tour in Europe, and there was like 30,000 people watching her. So it's funny, she hadn't quite picked up in North America then, but she's like, yeah, in the next couple weeks, this is gonna pick up. So, anyways, yeah, that's the.
Does that album have Angel on it?
Yeah, that one's got Building a Mystery, Sweet Surrender, another popular song. It's got Angel. I actually learned that song on the piano.
Oh, nice. You'll have to serenade us one day.
No, I'm recording my audio in GarageBand right now, and GarageBand had that feature where they had like some celebrity artists doing lessons. Like I think they had like Alex Lyson doing how to do guitar.
Sting was one of them.
Yeah, Sting, and one of them was Sarah McLachlan, Angel. So that's how I learned that song. It worked pretty good. And then the only other album I picked up was for my girlfriend. She's so nice. She had bought me so many nice albums, and so I returned the favor. She's a big Madonna fan, so I got her Immaculate collection with a lot of her 90s, pre-90s stuff. So
nice.
But those are mine.
Cool. All right, Ryan, I heard you went shopping today.
Yeah, I got a few things. So first thing I'll start off with, I ordered some records from a label called Shall Not Fade, which is an electronic label from England. And they have a lot of different artists signed to this label, but there was a particular pressing that they were repressing that they announced in March, and I ordered that morning from my iPhone when I woke up and received the email. Because Bandcamp, this website, if you care to sign up for certain artists, like they'll just send you a notification whenever a certain repress or special edition or something like that comes out or whatever. So the artist, his name is Lawrence Guy, and it was a really cool repressing that I ordered back in March when we first went into lockdown, and it arrived just last week. And I just wanted to quickly share it with you guys that it's in this beautiful, like lemonade,
nice color.
white, pink kind of splatter.
Very nice. It's like
And,
grapefruit color.
Yeah. So that came with a few other things, but that was just one thing that I wanted to highlight, and more so that it took absolutely forever to arrive, probably being...
Did you keep thinking of it, or did you kind of forget about it for a bit, and then all of a sudden, hey, it came in?
No, you know what the worst thing is, which I should have done? I should have just forgotten about it like an intelligent person might, but instead I flagged the email and then left it in my flagged folder with only like 4 or 5 other things. So 3 or 4 times a week I'm checking. There's no tracking for this thing whatsoever, but I'm still like just looking at it.
Nice.
More immediate things otherwise, because it's exciting to order things online. You can definitely find some more obscure new stuff perhaps, but then the waiting sucks. But your local record store, support your local record store, because ours, a few in town, offer immediate pickup, and because of that they've got me a chokehold of my credit card. So one thing I picked up and I was very excited to share with you guys was a pressing of Children of Bodom, Halo of Blood.
Ooh.
Now,
Nice.
for those of you guys listening, my name is Ryan, and I pretty much listen to everything. And over the course of the podcast, guys, we're going to go through a lot of different types of music. I don't listen to a lot of metal. That's definitely Ricardo's corner of the ring. But Children of Bodom and a couple other bands are just guilty pleasures for me, and I love them. I don't expect Melissa to love them, but I was saying to Ricardo when I got this that when I was playing it, Ricardo's system lacks a little bit of bass, whereas mine is definitely way too much bass. And the subwoofer that I had it at 2 out of 10. Yeah, it sounded probably like machine guns or like just something like those double kick drum nonsense things for my neighbors underneath. I could only imagine. So I don't really yet have the house to enjoy it, but that'll be one for the future. And it was pressed on like this beautiful silver kind of matte silver pressing. So it's my first silver or gray kind of pressing.
Shout out to all the people listening who live in apartments and turntables.
Yeah, and if your neighbors have a turntable or pump music, I hope it's just good music. At least it's got a bass line and a groove. And then just quickly, a few other things I picked up today from Encore. I got one Wild Beasts present tense, which is a really nice 180 heavyweight pressing. I got Helplessness Blues by Fleetwood Foxes, and that was thanks to Melissa.
Nice.
One that I was keeping an eye on for a while. I just wasn't sure when the right time to buy it was, and I finally found a reason to buy it. Not that it was on sale or anything, but one of my favorite albums by John Mayer, Continuum.
Nice.
So it is
Like that one.
yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful, like bluesy. The guitar on it is just amazing, and it sounds great. The only thing I kind of have to complain about is that the one I bought, there's a track at the very end of it at the end of side 4 called Say, and that was a song that John Mayer did for a movie with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson. I forget what it's called, but it was about the bucket list, because it's two old men trying to do
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
before
yeah.
they
Oh
hit
yeah,
the
the
bucket.
bucket list. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's this song called Say by John Mayer. And the song, I mean, whatever. It's the type of song that you would hear in your dentist's office. It's a ukulele or something, and it's the most not fitting in with the other songs on this album type song. So we had a great time listening to this album this afternoon, but about a minute into Say, I just picked the needle up off the turntable and went, fuck it. Otherwise, amazing album, Continuum by John Mayer. And then the final one, The War on Drugs. And I was able to get Lost in the Dream, which is 2 times, a nice two-sided or a 2-time LP. And it was like $20. So that was the one that I added
wow,
in the
that's really
basket,
good.
and then kind of went, yeah, like that was the one that I wasn't originally planning to buy. I didn't want to buy that many records, but for $20, that was a real good one.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan. War on Drugs, that's the name of the album or the
Yeah,
band?
I apologize. I went through that a little quick. So The War on Drugs, when we were listening to it this afternoon, Melissa and I were kind of likening it. Like if I was to introduce it to my dad, who I know would really probably like it, The War on Drugs is as if Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen had a baby.
I can picture it.
Okay.
Yeah, and like in this album in particular, Lost in the Dream, you'll hear that, especially in the first few songs. You're going to hear that Bob Dylan kind of influence the Bruce Springsteen more so in the instruments, and then the Bob Dylan more so in the vocals.
You'll have to play that next time we get together.
Very excited to, yeah.
All right, everybody, let's take a look at This Week in Music. I got a couple updates, actually, from things we talked about last week. So remember we talked about Britney Spears taking the #1 spot for the single from Lady Gaga?
Yes.
So Lady Gaga's album did hit #1 for the full album, but it didn't last very long. It only lasted a couple days because this rap duo called Run in the Jewels, which I'm not even familiar with.
So Run the Jewels, I have their second LP, actually.
Okay, nice. So they released a new album. It was supposed to drop on the Friday, like most new albums do, but because of what it stood for, they released it on the Wednesday because of all the Black Lives Matters stuff going on. They released it, and the album was free with a donation, and it was a donation to a Black Lives Matters charity, which is amazing. And it literally, they raised $100,000 and they took over the #1 spot in like a day from
That's
Lady
unreal.
Gaga. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Not anything, still we want to celebrate Lady Gaga, but,
Yeah.
it's on one side, 4 days, yikes. But on the other side, that's amazing that Run the Jewels would push the release of their album to support that. And I know a lot of other artists are doing similar things where, like again, I was talking about Bandcamp earlier, but another email I got from them was that on this particular day, I forget what it is, but that all the proceeds of anything you purchase, whether it was a t-shirt, a record, a digital, would go towards supporting Black Lives Matter. So I know that gave me another reason to buy more stuff. And I bought a hat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm guessing the answer is no, but do you guys watch America's Got Talent at all?
About 2 years ago, I just completely cut myself off from reality TV.
Okay. That's not a bad thing, but we actually had some local talent on the show this past week. 10-year-old Roberta Pataglia from Brampton, Ontario was on.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah, she sang that song Shallow by Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, the one that won the Oscar.
I love that song, actually.
And it was actually really good. She was an amazing singer. And afterwards, she had a really good heart-to-heart kind of chat with Simon about bullying in school, because I guess she was bullied a lot. And Simon kind of said, after this performance, you have nothing to worry about. And it was really touching. And she received the Golden Buzzer as well. I'm not really sure what that means on the show. I don't watch the show, but...
I think that's really good.
I guess that's better than having Simon Cowell tell you that you are utter trash.
Yeah, he seems to be a little nicer on that show than he was on American Idol, but
That's the joke I sometimes meet. That's the joke I sometimes say when I see something like, oh, that person needs some Simon Cowell in their life.
sad news, Bonnie Pointer from the Pointer Sisters passed away at age 69 of cardiac arrest.
When was that?
June 8th, so just 2 days ago. Yeah. Pointer Sisters were huge when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't really hear much of them anymore, but classic
Yeah.
Motown group. Did you guys see the trailer for Bill and Ted Face the Music?
I saw
did
the
watch that,
poster,
yes.
but not the trailer.
Yeah, what'd
Yeah,
you
I
think,
saw
John?
that, yeah.
I was so scared of that because I love Keanu Reeves so much, and I'm like, oh, is that you just have that? It's a risky gamble to do that movie, but I watched the trailer and it looks pretty funny. I was a total. I forget how old I was. I was a teenager. I remember me and my best friend watching that original movie, and that was just one of those cult films. So it looked pretty good. I think I'll like it.
I think Keanu Reeves can do whatever he wants, and he's going to
Yeah.
do it well. Yeah. He's great.
Yeah, it'll be good. Well, it may not be good, but I'll watch it.
I'll watch
It's a
it
break from
anyways.
doing John Wick films.
Exactly.
As much as I love them, I'm sure he
Yeah.
could use a break from martial arts.
Yeah.
And jumping
He's got
off
a lot.
buildings.
He's got a lot of leeway for me in that film. He's got a lot of leeway.
And this one I saw coming. Well, pretty much any music festival this year this is happening too, but they confirmed that Lollapalooza is canceled for the year for obvious reasons. And I guess they'll be looking into next year to reschedule that.
Bummer. Yeah, there's so many concerts canceled and stuff too. I was just looking up a bit of like the music history as well too, and then I just realized, June 13th from 1995 was Alanis Morissette's "Jagged Little Pill." So that concert I was supposed to go to this summer in Toronto was like the 25th anniversary of Jagged Little Pill reunion, but I just got an email that has officially been rescheduled to 2021, and I can either get a refund or hold on to the tickets. So I'm gonna hold on to the tickets, but yeah.
If we're still waiting a few more minutes for like a vaccine or something to come out for COVID, one thing I kind of think we might see in the future is like recordings, whether they're made for Netflix or whatever streaming platform, but artists still going to a venue and performing at the venue, but the venue just has nobody in it necessarily. And it's really just like a recording of the stage performance. Because I think of that Talking Heads concert that I watched on Blu-ray. Yeah, you don't see the audience at any point. You wouldn't even know they're there. It looks like it was recorded in a studio for all that you know, really. But I say this because Formula One is still coming back at the beginning of July, but they're racing in empty stadiums, empty tracks, and it's just going to be broadcast on TV. All the people, like it's only essential people that are going to be there, stuff like that. It's kind of controversial for some people, but the theory is that whatever, as long as it's contained, it's no different, than following social distance laws and stuff like that. But if we do start seeing, if this carries on for a while longer, I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing performances like that are streamed a bit more.
I would love to see that. I mean, to me, it's like 50% less than what we had not being able to physically go to a concert, but it's 50% more than what we've got now, which is like no live music. So I would, it's even like, it's weird. A lot of the sports is taking off the next couple of weeks, and I'm watching soccer, football, and it's playing to empty stadiums, and it's really, really weird and bizarre, but it's more than what I had a month ago, so I'll take it. So yeah.
One other thing I was thinking about that kind of made me feel better was that whatever you guys are doing in your spare time, if you're staying at home or just not working as much perhaps, whatever you're doing to pass the time, just imagine what your favorite artists are doing and what type of music or what type of films, books, what type of content is going to start coming out because of this whole experience that everyone's going through, whether it's COVID related or related from protests or social experiences that are now coming up. Like just the amount of change, the wake that is going to come from this in art. For me, that's one thing I feel that is a good thing perhaps to come out of this.
When you said think about what the artists are doing, first thing that popped in my head was John Legend. So if you watched any of his live from home videos, it's always a picture of him or a video of him playing the piano, and right behind his piano is a shelf of all his awards, Grammys and everything. So I just picture him dusting his shelf of awards.
I saw that, yeah. Yeah, during this quarantine, there's been a few things like online that have been pretty cool. I mentioned it on one of our Instagram posts, the Bare Naked Ladies. I posted the album there, and they've been doing these selfie cam jams where they're performing all their songs, each at their own location, but some engineer is putting it all together as songs and stuff like that. There was something else that was going on just 1 or 2 days ago where it was like the commence, like everybody's doing their 2020 graduation. So there was some outfit that put together a whole bunch of artists, and then of course, I got to mention U2. Once during the podcast, Bono introduced. Actually, Dan, I think you sent me the link to that. Bono did an introduction to the song "Beautiful Day," and it was Phineas from Phineas. I'm saying the name Phineas from Billie Eilish and their brother Phineas had put together a composition of that, and then it was like recorded from all these artists. First time I listened to it, I always kind of feel weird when I hear someone else doing, but that song's kind of grown on me. But there's been quite a few during the quarantines, collaborations and stuff like that.
All right, let's take a look at some of the vinyl history for this coming week. So Monday, June 5th, big major album, 1979 Joy Division release Unknown Pleasures. This was their debut album. And are you guys familiar with this album?
Yeah, it's a really good album to go skateboarding to.
Yeah.
Or biking.
It's on my want list for sure. I heard, what was it? Henry Rollins has a YouTube channel, and he's talking about his favorite albums of all time, and he was talking about that album quite a bit, and I put that on my want list. So yeah.
It's interesting because the record label didn't put any singles out as releases. The album didn't chart at all, but it's been named one of the best albums of all times by many publications and magazines, including Spin. That cover is iconic, that little like topographical map type image that's on there. It's been replicated everywhere in all different formats.
You know what that is?
No, what is it?
That waveform?
Oh yeah, it's a waveform, right? Yeah.
It's a waveform, yeah, but I forget exactly what it is, but it's something from space. I'm going to look it up right now, but it's really cool. It's like it's something really cool, so we're going to come back to that.
I picked up the 40th anniversary edition of it last year, which had a white cover instead of black and red vinyl. But I picked that up at Sunrise when it came out last year.
Yeah, so it is a waveform, a repeating waveform. So if you look at it, it looks like mountains. Right?
Yeah.
Each one of those layers, think of it like a heart rate if you're looking at it right now. So each one of those layers on Unknown Pleasures' album cover is like a heart rate. In space, there are these massive stars called pulsars. If you guys are familiar with it, we're going to get into some space stuff, some Carl Sagan stuff.
Watch a lot of that nerdy stuff.
Yeah, so pulsars, like they rotate, I don't know how many times. They're incredibly massive stars with incredible gravitational forces. I don't understand enough about this. I went to university for English, not science. But the star rotates so quickly that it emits like a concentration of energy because it's spinning so fast that it's like spinning a water bottle. Stuff comes out of it, basically. And the Unknown Pleasures album cover is the waveform or audio of those radio signals reaching Earth.
That's awesome.
And when those two stars explode, they emit spew all over the universe, and that's what we're all made of.
Exactly.
The Moby song, "We Are All Made of Stars." It's true.
Yeah. All right. Next up on Tuesday, June 16th. This is a big album to remember. 1972, David Bowie's "The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars."
I got that on my list just in case you missed it, but I didn't think you'd miss that, Dan.
It was known as the most important albums in the glam rock genre. And it's one of those albums that just kind of speaks for itself. There's not much you can say or need to say about it, really.
Are you familiar as well with the conspiracy theory about Kanye West?
Yeah, it says like K West or something on that cover, right?
Yeah, so this album came out the same year that Kanye West was born or whatever. And right on the album cover, it says K West. So there's this conspiracy theory that David Bowie and Kanye West are connected.
Well, when I first picked up the album, I put a post on my Instagram that said something like Kanye West is probably arrogant enough to think that this means this is about him.
So it came out 16th of June, 1972. Kanye West.
Yep.
Nope, I'm wrong. Born June 8th, 1977. Sorry, Kanye.
The album is officially on my official want list.
Also on the same day in 1997, Radiohead's OK Computer came out. This was their third studio album. It was kind of a bit of a departure from their first two albums, which were more guitar-centered. And John, this is the album.
I almost bought the album at Encore.
This is an album that I told John I would trade him. If he bought this album for me, I'd trade him with the 10-inch U2 Signals set that I haven't opened yet.
Good
yes,
trade.
I want that.
Yeah.
You also had Hot Fuss, Killer's Hot Fuss on the list. I got to share that because I was at Encore and I already spent 3 albums and I just got to... Every time I do that at Encore Records, I put like 10 albums in my hand and then I go, okay, I got to put some of these back. So I had that in my list. I got to wait till later this week. But I was like doing Hot Fuss is actually $5 cheaper than the...
Damn, John, like now I'm going to be adding Hot Fuss. I need Hot Fuss now because that is an amazing album.
It is.
And it's
Every
also on my
single
list of
song.
albums I want too. So I'm like, I was conflicted. I'm like, I can't decide.
Yeah, The Killer's Hot Fuss. Everyone knows Mr. Brightside. I guess it has it has Mr. Brightside, but whatever.
Yeah.
Every other song. Now
It's
that
a great
one's been
album.
played to oblivion.
It's a great album.
Okay, on Wednesday, June 17th, 1996, Beck released Odelay. We kind of owe him some gratitude as the song Where It's At was kind of the inspiration for the title of this podcast.
Oh, that's right.
No way.
I think that album cover also has like a cute bunny rabbit or something.
It's one of those
over a
mop
hurdle.
dogs. It's like one of those
Yeah,
dogs
sorry,
that look like
that's
a
what it
mop.
is.
I've got
Yeah.
3 or 4 Beck albums on my want list as well too.
He's amazing live too. I've seen him live 4 or 5 times now, and incredible.
really?
Yeah,
Nice.
he's incredible.
I've watched entire concerts of his on YouTube. They're so good.
Yeah.
He's really good. One of the people I want to see.
He's known for doing like really long sets.
I was just about to say he seems like the kind of guy like Bruce Springsteen that's up there for
Yeah.
4 hours and they have
Well,
to
that's the
unplug
thing,
the
like-
lights.
I saw him at Lollapalooza in 1995, the very first time I saw him. He played on the main stage. When he was done there, he went to the side stage, waited till all those artists were done, and then played for another hour by himself with his acoustic guitar.
Oh wow.
And he wasn't even scheduled to play on the second stage. He just wanted to keep playing. And then we got some new releases coming out this Friday, June 19th, I thought I'd mention. Bob Dylan has a new album coming out called Rough and Rowdy Ways. Jason Mraz has a new one called Look for the Good. And this one looks interesting. I might even pick it up. Neil Young. It's an album called Homegrown. It's an album he recorded in 1974, but never released.
Oh wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Deep cut.
Yeah, so it could be interesting because that's a good era for him.
I have one album history that I found when I was looking up. Well, we're still talking about album
Yeah.
history. There's a pretty big one. June 12th of 2012 was Rush's last official studio album, Clockwork Angels, came out. I couldn't believe that. It's like 8 years
Yeah.
ago since their last, and it was already 5 years ago since their last live performance. So
Okay, next up, we're going to get into the Fortam Top 12. And this week we are taking a look at our favorite morning coffee songs.
I love coffee.
So the songs we like to listen to first thing when we wake up and sipping on that cup of coffee, or for me, since I don't drink coffee, usually a smoothie.
A smoothie.
Yep.
I'm going to post these playlists on both Apple Music and Spotify. And I'm going to change the name now to Morning Coffee / Smoothie Songs.
Perfect.
Oh yeah.
You can find the link in the description for those playlists. Ryan, why don't we start with you?
All right, so I was saying to the guys earlier that a lot of the music that I have in my collection is coffee music, and it was hard and easy, I guess, at the same time, because I could always talk about other things later. But as I was going through my collection, like even as we were on the call here right now, I was going and switching out what I had chosen, because there are so many things that I wanted to talk about. But the very first one I wanted to share, he's from Toronto. He's entirely self-taught on guitar, and his name is Bahamas. Bahamas. So pretty easy to remember. But the album in particular, Bar Chords.
I love that album.
And it's one, like I was lucky enough to pick it up. And then a couple months after I bought it, I found it for $8 at the antiques market. And I think Dan then picked it up.
Yep, I did.
But just an amazing, amazing tone. The guitar is just so beautiful. And it's a great way to wake up. And whether it's rainy or sunny, it's just an album that fits in with anything.
So which song?
Oh yeah, hey, I'm sorry, I'm cheating here, I guess. Let's pick a song right off the tip here. Looking at the back, I'm gonna do open up your streaming app of choice there and type in "Caught Me Thinking." Let's do that. But really, just throw a stick in the air. I don't care. Next one I wanted to talk about. This one's a little obscure for some, but for others, like it is a absolute classic for the genre that it is. It's by a guy named Mr. Fingers. And this is his alias. His real name is Larry Hurd. But Mr. Fingers is a pioneer of house music, so I love my house music. The track I wanted to share in particular, Can You Feel It? It is some very early, I think this came out in 1986. So it came out in 1986, I'm pretty sure. But just the bass line is this really cool acid kind of, I don't know the synth that was used off the top of my head. I'm not that deep, but But when these chords come in after maybe 30 seconds, these like really, really luscious chords are just going to wash into your room or your headphones or whatever it is that you're listening. And yeah, I don't know, your heart rate's going to go right down if you're into that thing. I hope you enjoy that. The very final one that I wanted to share today, A Tribe Called Quest. So these are a favorite group of mine.
Nice.
They were already classics when I was in high school, but this is something that a lot of my friends and I used to listen to when we were just hanging out or driving around. But Midnight Marauders, and the track that I'm going to pick right off the bat, because I'm a Muppet that picked whole albums instead of singles. Oh, again, toss a stick in the air. I'm going to go with Electric Relaxation. So as a starter, you guys can get into that one, but truly, I'll recommend the whole album to you. Midnight Marauders. It's a really good one as a hip-hop album, like a golden era kind of classic hip-hop album. It is a really good album to listen to from start to back.
You're going to go up next. You're going to go next, John. What do you got for us?
Okay, my 3 top 12 morning coffee songs. I was kind of asking you guys on chat earlier. It's like, is these songs that you're like kind of mellow in the morning, or they're trying to pump you up? So these are kind of like mellow. I'm not a morning person, so I got to ease into the day. So these are kind of my mellow, having a coffee, chilling, slowly acclimating myself to the day. So the first one I have, I'm sorry, U2 song, is a song called Love Comes Tumbling.
Obligatory.
I want to play it for you right now, but I can't.
It's a great song. I love it.
I was literally in the morning, I was playing the records because, yeah, we're on quarantine and I don't have to get off physically to work. I was literally playing this and went, oh, this is a great song. I'm going to put this on our top 12 morning coffee songs. So we'll add that to the playlist. The next 2 are from the albums that I picked up this week. One from Sarah McLachlan called Sweet Surrender.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good song.
That's a really good song. You ever have a song where you play it and you instantly think to like a memory that you had?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This
Got
is a
enough
song.
of those, man.
I went to a conference with my friend and we were literally driving back home, and I remember he got pulled over for speeding to this song. So
Actually,
I put this song on and I immediately think of driving from Guelph back to Kitchener and all of a sudden being pulled over. But anyways, that's that song. And the other song is from Pearl Jam 10, the song Black.
Great
So
choice.
We'll put that in there.
Ricardo, I have a feeling yours are going to be a little on the heavier side.
No, actually, it's surprising that I was telling you before that it depends what happens the night before. So if it was a crazy night and maybe I just want something chill, relaxing, I was just fooling around, starting with metal. Sometimes I can do it, but I'm not sure. For me, I think one super nice song to start your day is Halo by Depeche Mode. Man, it's a great
Good
song.
choice.
Yes,
Good
I
choice.
just remember back in spring breaks back home when in the 90s we just waking up super hangover, just trying to find something to eat and just cranking up the Depeche Mode, and when that song came, oh my god, it was so good. Actually, when I don't have like a crazy night, one of my favorite guitar players is Al Di Meola. I don't know if you are familiar with that guy. So he had this acoustic song that he always plays with this talented Spain guitar player that is called Paco de Lucia. That is called Mediterranean Sun Dance. It's a great song as well. It's super relaxing. It's chill. And you're not going to believe me because right now I'm just talking about the songs that I have in my current vinyl collection. So I can spend a month talking about my waking up songs. But I will throw here The Chain by Fleetwood Mac. It's such a great song that it doesn't matter if I'm hangover, if I haven't slept, or I was playing video games until 4 a.m. It's going to make my day better when I start listening to that song.
Nice. Good choices, man. All right. I'm kind of into the really mellow, slow stuff first thing in the morning. I like it pretty calm, pretty relaxing, chill music. So I got a few choices here. This is really hard to choose, but my first choice is Somewhere Only We Know by Keane from Hopes and Fears. My second choice is The Sun Only Shines on TV by Aha, the MTV Unplugged version from the Summer Solstice album. This is an amazing acoustic version, and it has a guest singer on it, Ingrid Havik from Norway. Really good song, really good version of the song.
Yeah.
And my last one, another tough choice, but I actually listen to Elton John quite a bit in the mornings, just kind of throw on a random playlist. And one of my favorite songs is Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters off the Honky Chateau album.
I love that song.
That's probably my favorite Elton John song there is.
Yeah,
But
I owe myself some more Elton John. I think I've got Yellow Brick, and that's it.
I have about half of his releases. I'm slowly getting them all, but a lot of his later stuff is kind of hit and miss, but his early stuff's really good.
I really like these playlists we put together.
Yeah.
The last two that we did, the driving songs and the cover songs, I listen to them when I drive. They're good. They're good playlists.
It's good, man.
If you go to Spotify or Apple Music, just do a search for 4TAM. That's the number 4 TAAM, and you should find our playlist there. Plug for our playlist. They're good songs.
All right, that wraps up the 4TAM Top 12, and that's going to bring us to our artist spotlight. And today I'm going to take you guys on a little bit of a journey, little outside of anything we've talked about. I'm going to go a little bit country on today's artist spotlight.
Oh.
I'll be honest, I'm not a huge country music listener. I'm kind of very picky with what country I do listen to, and it's kind of based on like the nostalgia from my childhood. I tend to kind of listen to the stuff that my mom listened to when I was a kid, the stuff that I'd hear around the house, you know. We also watched this show. John, you might remember the show Hee Haw
Yes, I love
back
that
in
song.
the 80s. No, the
I
show,
love the
the
guy
TV
with
show.
the TV show. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
the guy with the red and white and blue guitar and everything.
Yeah, and Ricardo and Ryan, are you guys familiar with Hee Haw at all?
Can't say.
No.
Picture a sketch comedy show based around country music and Nashville. It's pretty interesting, but we always sat down as a family and watched it. So it's that type of music that I was always kind of drawn to when it comes to country. So artists like Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton, Rita McNeil, Loretta Lynn, Willie Nelson. Again, Dukes of Hazzard was another show we always watched, and Willie Nelson was a big part of that show.
Duke of Hazzard, yes, I remember.
Oh my god, I forgot about that show.
Did you watch all the there was in that era there was some grand variety shows like Carol Burnett and Donnie
Donnie
Marie
Marie.
Osmond.
Yeah.
I love those shows when I was a little kid.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is when I was growing up, I forget what network it was on, but two of my favorite shows for some reason while growing up were the Dukes of Hazzard, who had a fucking Confederate flag on the top
So I
of
was just
the
thinking
Yeah,
that
general.
that show would not fly
Which
nowadays.
as a kid, yeah,
The general,
I didn't
yeah.
understand any of that. To me, it was just whoa, the car goes in the air and makes a burr, burr,
Yeah.
burr, like sound as a whoa, like you know when you're 5, it's cool.
Yeah.
But then my other favorite TV show was Sanford and Sons.
Yeah.
Dukes of Hazzard did not age well.
To this day, if I do a risky car maneuver, I go.
So you guys kind of got a picture of the style of country I'm kind of drawn towards. So back in 2014, when I was watching the Grammy Awards, I first heard Kacey Musgraves play Follow Your Arrow. And it kind of reminded me of that style of country. And it wasn't just the style of her music that I appreciated, but it was her lyrics that actually captured me. Are you guys, any of you guys familiar with Kacey Musgraves at all?
Not at all, no.
Dan, my country knowledge goes as far as like Your Time Is Gonna Come by Led Zeppelin and Horse with No Name by America. And I know that's not country music.
So maybe you guys will learn something today in this artist spotlight.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready to be educated.
I like it that our podcast is a genre judgment-free zone. I like getting a little bit of all the genres.
That's the way it should be, man.
If you love music, you love music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a little backstory on Kacey. She was born in Golden, Texas, August 21st, 1988. She started writing her own songs by the age of 8. She had 3 self-released solo albums and appeared in a singing competition in Nashville before she signed to a major label, Mercury Nashville, in 2012. Her first major record release was Same Trailer, Different Park, released in 2013. It won the Grammy Award for Best Country Album and featured singles Merry Go Round, which is one of my favorite songs by her, and Follow Your Arrow, the one I mentioned I first saw her play at the Grammys. And again, it was her lyrics that really caught my attention. They were clever, smart, witty, direct, and she's very sassy. The song was a bit controversial, and when she performed it on the American Country Music Awards, they actually made her censor some of the lines in the song. But when she played on the Grammys, she got to sing it as is. So I'm going to read some of the lyrics from it, just so you guys can kind of hear what I mean by sass and kind of cleverness. So the song starts off with, if you save yourself for marriage, you're a bore. If you don't save yourself for marriage, you're a horrible person. So she's kind of got a little bit of wordplay there. If you can't lose the weight, then you're just fat. But if you lose too much, then you're on crack. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. So you might as well just do whatever you want. And then it goes in the chorus, makes lots of noise, kiss lots of boys, or kiss lots of girls if that's something you're into. When the straight and narrow gets a little too straight, roll up the joint, or don't. Just follow your arrow wherever it points.
I dig it.
So she's kind of speaking about being yourself, not being ashamed of who you are, kind of.
Have a coffee or a smoothie.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of her songs are very similar. It points to like real life scenarios delivered with a combination of like sass and wit. She's no nonsense type of girl, kind of what I was drawn to her for. I got to see her at the Danforth Music Hall in Toronto a few years back. Incredible live performance. It was so amazing to the point where at first I thought she was using a vocal track, but then you kind of pick up on little changes in the songs and that sort of stuff. And you just realize she's just that good at singing, like she doesn't need auto-tune, and it was pretty amazing. But yeah, in total, she has 4 studio albums. The first one I mentioned, Same Trailer, Different Park from 2013. Second album, Pageant Material, 2015. She has a Christmas album, A Very Kacey Christmas, released in 2016. And her most recent album, Golden Hour, released in 2018. The most recent album, a little divergent from country. It gets a little poppy. It actually won Best Country Album at the Grammys, as well as Best Album of the Year for all categories. She won Best Solo Country Music Performance and Best Country Song as well. So she's won 6 or 7 Grammys by now, and 4 alone just off the last album. I have all her albums except for the Christmas album.
How many Christmas albums do you need?
Exactly. And, it's...
Like, you've got the NSYNC one, right? So
that one I don't have. I have
You're set.
the Charlie Brown Christmas album, which is the only one you need, really.
I've got the Amy Grant Christmas. I'm good.
Yeah.
I need a Christmas album, so I'm open to suggestions. So
Yeah.
Mariah Carey.
There you go.
But in real talk, the Charlie Brown Christmas album, if you can find that, isn't amazing.
Yes,
You told me about it.
Press.
You told me that it's so jazzy and cool, right?
Yeah, it is.
It
It's
is.
really
It's
good.
just straight up. It's Vince Guaraldi.
Yeah.
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 While researching for this segment, I came across a performance of Kacey doing a cover of Somewhere Only We Know by Keane. And it was amazing. It was slowed right down, stripped back. It was just her singing. There was a piano, a banjo, and a cello. And it was so good. It kind of just gave me goosebumps. If I had heard this song before we did our covers for TAM Top 12, that would have been on my list for sure. It's really, really good.
I can add it to our 4 TAM Top 12 cover songs.
Yeah, we could. So to bring her kind of career full circle, Kacey's first live performance was when she was 9 years old, and she did the song "The Rainbow Connection," which was the song from the Muppet movie, performed by Kermit the Frog. Somewhere you'll find it, the Rainbow Connection.
Okay, that's enough.
Very popular song. It's been covered dozens of times.
For lovers and dreamers and me. Sorry. Please you're keeping that in. Sorry.
Again, the song was covered many, many times by different artists over the year, and Willie Nelson had a very popular version of it back in 2001, I believe. And it was a lifelong dream for Kacey to actually sing this as a duet with Willie Nelson. And at the 2019 Country Music Awards, she actually got to do that. So you can catch that video online of the two of them performing that song together. It's really sweet. And, you know, Willie Nelson is a bit of a boss. Let's be honest here.
You know, Willie Nelson's like best friends with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, it's that pot
And
connection.
Martha Stewart, I think. Yeah, it's
What
pot
is the connection
Martha
there?
Stewart, Snoop Dogg, and Willie Nelson.
Yeah. He actually has a new album coming out in July, I believe. So it's going to be interesting. That's about all I have for Kacey Musgraves. I just kind of want to give you a little bit of rundown of what her style of music is like and why I enjoy it. And I know country's not really for everybody, but that's the whole point of this spotlight, is to try and encourage people to check out different music.
Oh yeah.
Dig it. I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
So if I want to start listening to her, I will start with the first one. That's what you're
Yeah,
saying,
either that
maybe?
one or the second one. Same trailer, different park, or Pageant Material. Great albums to start.
Okay.
Both
It's going
great
to give me
albums.
an excuse to
Yeah.
go to Encore. Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, I appreciate you doing that profile, because for me, like, country music, modern country music, a lot of people I know feel this way, but modern country music is, I suppose, the other end of the spectrum of how some people might feel that, like, modern rap music may be going with, like, trap music and stuff like Lil Pump and Lil Xan, and if you're not familiar with those artists, good for you.
Yeah.
But a country song that I want to point out for the absolute negative is a song called Truck Got Stuck. Look this song up. Truck Got Stuck by some guy named Corb Lund, and it's basically just a joke. It's a laugh.
Yeah.
It is serious, but to me it's, you know, it's hilarious. But I could never get into modern country music, because to me it all kind of just sounds like that song. But really good classic country music, that's like the sad stuff where that tells a story, that's what I'm into.
Yeah.
Into finding more about, I suppose. Yeah.
And again, a lot of the newer country, it's produced, it's highly produced,
mainstream.
right? And
Yeah.
it's where it's her style is a little more old school country. She writes all her own music, and you know, it's just got that. Like I said, it's nostalgia. It gives me the feeling of listening to country from when I was a kid.
A few modern country songs that I have heard on the radio, I find that if you remove the actual lyrics and maybe some of the guitar, it's basically just a rap beat anyway.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it is so now it's electronic, it's overproduced, it's a different genre entirely now.
Yeah, hers is definitely old school. Like, she's got lap steel a lot in some of her songs, and it's just old style country. It's great.
Wicked.
I smell a upcoming top 12 4TAM list. Our top 12 country songs.
You guys will have to start listening to
12,
country.
12 songs to hang your laundry to.
The last country song I listened to like crazy was A Little Bit of Chicken Fry, Cold Beer on a Friday night. I don't know if you
See,
know
and
that
that's the country I can't stand.
That's my one song I will pick out of the list.
Yeah.
There is for a really quick country playlist, one resource that I had as a teenager to get into country music. There is a very controversial video game that I played that my mom did not enjoy me playing when I was a kid, called Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Yeah.
Oh,
But if you go on YouTube or whatever, I don't think it's going to be on Apple Music or any type of streaming service, but it will be on YouTube. Look up K Rose Radio San Andreas, and it's going to be maybe 12 to 15 songs of actually great classic country music. And one thing about the Grand Theft Auto video games, as crazy as they may be, whatever your opinion of violent video games may be, is that the music that the video games throughout the history of the series have had,
Yeah.
each game has like a dozen radio stations, each one supposed, you know, like trying to mimic the real world, has their own tone. But K Rose from San Andreas, just a great playlist that I remember learning a lot of country music through. And
Yeah.
I still remember the day my mom came downstairs in the basement when I was like 13 years old, and she's like, "What are you playing?" Because it was playing this beautiful country music.
That's so nice.
Oh
my
yeah, I'm playing
word!
Grand Theft
What are
Auto,
you
and then
watching?
do a drive-by shooting.
Well, video game music soundtracks are a big deal nowadays. Like, they put big dollars into them now.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah. So that about wraps up this episode of our podcast. So everybody, don't forget to check us out on all the social media platforms, and we'll have the link in the description that will get you to all those. For this week's episode, thanks for listening, and have a good night.
Yeah, see you next time, guys.
Stay safe. Have a good week.
Good night. Love you, everybody.